In this series of 4 videos, we're going to be creating a SAP Business Objects Data Services repository on a SAP HANA database. In the first video, I'll create a user in the SAP HANA Studio which will house the Data Services repository. In the second video, I'll create a Data Services repository with the Data Services Repository Manager. In the third video, I'll log into Business Objects Central Management Console within the enterprise set of products, and I'll create a Data Services connection to my Data Services repository. And in the fourth video, I'll log into the Data Services Server Manager and create a server so we can execute jobs within our Data Services repository. So in this video, I'll log into Business Objects Central Management Console within the enterprise set of products, and I'll create a Data Services connection to my Data Services repository, which we created with the Data Services Repository Manager. So to do this, we need to go to Start, All Programs, and then from the SAP Business Objects BI Platform 4 folder, we have the SAP Business Objects BI Platform subfolder. And from there we need to select the SAP Business Objects BI Platform Central Management Console. So I'm going to log in as an administrator. So an example would be I'm logging in with my credentials student and the password is welcome1. So now that we've logged in, we can see on the left hand side within the Organize panel, we have an option which is Data Services. So I'm going to select Data Services. And we can see we've got a default repository which is used when I install Data Services. So to show you that, if I actually go back to and minimize my CMC, if I launch the Data Services Designer, what you'll see is when I log in, when I'm prompted to log in, so for example, if I put an administrator here, which is student and welcome1, you might have seen very quickly that I automatically log into Data Services. That's because we have one default repository associated with that user. But what we're going to do now is create that additional repository in the CMC, so then we'll be prompted to select one of the existing Data Services repositories. So to do that, I click on the icon here, which will enable me to configure a new Data Services repository. We give the repository a name, so I'm going to call this my test DS repo. We can give it a description, used in the HANA Academy. And then we need to choose the database type. So for us, of course, the database type will be SAP HANA. We then choose the host name, which for us is going to be the machine name, which is HANA. The port, which what we're connecting to. So again, it's the instance number, which is 00, surrounded by 3 at the beginning and 15 at the end. And then we enter that user, which is DS repo, and the password is dsrepo123. Again, to create that user and to create the repository, I've recorded 2 previous videos on how to do that. Lastly, we define whether or not this repository is a profiler repository. It isn't, so I'm going to click Select No and then click on Test Connection. You can see that we can successfully connect to the repository, so I'm going to select OK and then I'll select Save. So now that we've done that, when we actually launch Data Services now, I'm going to log off the CMC. And I'll shut down that browser. Now when I log into Data Services, what we'll see is that we're prompted with 2 repositories. And because we're given the option to use one of or either of the repositories, we're not automatically logged in. So again, if I launch that test DS repository, which is the new one that I've created, we'll just have to log in again. And you use that dsrepo123 password. And we can see, if I look at my list of projects, or for example, the simplest indicator is my list of data flows, that this repository is completely empty. And again, you can see I'm connecting to my test DS repo. However, if I go back and try and log in as the other one, so again, I'm going to log in as student and welcome one. I'll select login, but I'll choose the first one, which was the one created by default. What we'll see here, of course, is a list of projects that I've built. So that's a way in which you can create a CMC connection to your data services repository, and then when you log into your data services repository, you'll be prompted to select which data services repository you want to log in. So for an example, this could be my test repository and this could be my production repository. In the next video, we're going to be looking at how to log into this repository and create a job server so that you can execute jobs within this repository.